Welcome to Chaos, Courage and Coffee, the podcast for anyone who's felt like on the outside I'm holding it together, but inside I'm struggling.
And we do it with honesty, heart, and just enough coffee to get through the day.
Good morning, Vanessa.
Hi, Brett. I know we just said hello literally a few minutes ago, and Brett's just shared he's really, really tired. So I said, well, let's make it easy, Brett. So here we go, Brett. What topics? What would be a good topic now today? Because you're quite tired.
Well, I was thinking for today that gratitude could be a good idea.
Okay, that's actually almost one of my pet hates, using a word like gratitude, but I like talking about it. I like it, but what's the point of gratitude? What do you get from doing this gratitude thing?
I think one of the misconceptions with gratitude is that it needs to be the big things. And quite often we plan a big thing and think that's this is the granddaddy or whatever of, life. This is a pinnacle moment. But it's more often than not, it's not the big thing. It's the little moments that bring us the most peace, happiness, joy in our lives. And I think where people go so wrong with gratitude is they talk about it as I'll be grateful for the things you've got. I think just taking a moment to appreciate the things that we do have in our lives can be really helpful. I don't know if I've really answered your question, or why do we do it? What are we trying to achieve?
No, not really, because you've talked about the how, and it's interesting because this is why I hate this topic of gratitude, because it's it's like a textbook thing trying to tell a mum in the busy chaos, oh, just stop and be grateful for your children. It doesn't work like that in the real world. This is some ideology that people talk about. So I'm not disputing that being grateful for things is good, but what I was getting at is, we want people to listen to the podcast and be curious. We don't want to be spouting the usual gratitude at them that is just this pie in the sky thing that you are not going to achieve when you are a busy mum running ragged around children. Okay. You can't even go to the toilet on your own and get 10 seconds of peace. So we got to keep it real. So this whole thing of like, let's practice gratitude. It's actually funny timing because I literally just put on my Instagram today, find the good things in life. And I'm like, look hard, find it, because it's really, really hard to see the good things, especially when you're in a negative headspace. But what I was really getting at with asking you this question is to get people curious about listening to us, because we're here now to help them.
Mhm.
Don't tell them like the strategy. You need to practice gratitude. You need to look for the good things. What I want them to be curious about is, what are they actually going to get from this? How are they going to feel? Because it's all about how they're going to feel. So you could tell somebody to go through all this practicing gratitude. You can give them the strategy. You can give them all the tips, even how a busy mum can do it, which is, to be honest, just another blinking task in her day. And she's already got enough of those. So back to my question, what do you get from this gratitude? Why would we bother to go through this action strategy of practicing gratitude? How are we going to feel?
It brings us closer to happiness. There is a perception when we start talking about happiness and gratitude and moving from this negative headspace that you just mentioned. There is a perception that I will be grateful when I am happy or when things get better. It's the practicing gratitude on the way that helps make us better, make things better, make our life better, make our mindset better. I'm going to say it's like building muscles, going to the gym. You've got to lift those weights, and it takes time and it takes practice. Moving from where you are now, from where you want to be. And if you're in overwhelm and that negative headspace that you were talking about, and you want to be in that more, a happier headspace where you can appreciate things more. Well, that is going to take practice. And I don't think anything that we've talked about in this podcast has ever let anybody believe that this is an overnight switch. It's the little practices every day that compound and build over time that will get better. It will make it easier. And the practice leads to the end result. And yes, we're going to have bad days. And I'm not talking about being grateful and everything will be rosy. You can practice gratitude. And I know a lot of people that take time when the kids are in bed or whatever it is, in the morning, in the evenings, it doesn't matter. And it helps them appreciate it doesn't have to be in the moment. And I'm not suggesting it needs to be in the moment. It can be once all the kids are asleep. And look, for some mums, that is not going to happen every day. And I get that. I've been there.
You mean
Else,
it's a wine?
that might be your gratitude for the day. My glass of wine, my savior. All right. Um, it's my son used to get out of bed and he would get up 4, 5, 6 times every single night. It's just go to bed, stay here. And, and sometimes it was just, oh, finally, he's asleep. We can relax. That's the moment of gratitude for some people. And it might only be that one thing each day, but it's, and trying to embrace that. And when you can appreciate those things and you can look back on your day and think, that was a nice moment. I'm grateful for that moment. I'm grateful for, like I said, it's not going to be every day, not to start with. It is a practice, it's a skill, and it takes practice to build skill. So it'll help us move away from a place, a bad place or a potentially negative place into a happier, nicer place.
So it's really interesting when you talked about that. It totally reminded me of my happiness talk. So little plug here, Happiness Unraveled, but it was about 2 years ago. And it's trying to get across to everyone the concept that happiness is you, you don't sit in happiness all the time because life is such that stuff happens. So where I was going with it is when you said I'll be happy when, and that's exactly what I said in my talk. It's a trap that a lot of us fall into because I'll be happy when, and then we come up with a list. So then we start fixing the list. Trouble is it doesn't work like that. You can do all that list and you still won't be happy. And part of it is because more things are going to happen. There's always something else. So don't expect I'll be happy when, and you're going to get to the end of something and then suddenly there's the rainbow and you're happy. Because life, the way life works is it's always going to give you things. So it's much better to think I'll be happy. I was going to say in spite of, that sounds a little bit negative, but I'll be happy even with all the stuff that's happening. And like Brett was saying, it's definitely a mindset thing that you have to practice. And I know we've talked about negative thoughts. If no one's listened to our first podcast, you can pop back to that. We are wired negatively. So when Brett says this isn't an overnight thing, it's not, because we're wired to look at the negative. So the point is to train yourself to also see the positive. And that's really what this gratitude is about. It's not about creating this feeling inside you, oh, I'm so grateful for my son and all of this. It's just logging some positive things along the way to start training your brain to look for the positives. And again, I'm not going to go back into everything we talked about in negative thoughts and how the brain works. But that's kind of this is an extension of it. We're not talking about gratitude today, Brett. I said I don't want to talk about gratitude. So, yeah, happiness is not, it's not going to happen when you fix all those things, because you won't fix all those things because there's always something else. I always used to say, to my kids, like, say they had to get up in the morning and they needed to print something out for school, I'd always say, do it the night before. I'm not going to do it with you in the morning. Why? Because something will happen. And you can cover your back as much as possible and you can work out what's going to happen. Okay, the printer won't work. I'll oversleep. And you know what? At the end of the day, something that you haven't predicted will happen, like the cat got run over or something. Something might happen. So life happens. These things happen. They happen all the time. And you can't prepare for them because you don't know what they are. So the more you prepare for them, the less likely those things are to happen and something's going to blindside you. So yeah, it's training ourselves to look for some positives. And you you can't, it's really hard. Don't start here, okay? It's like the Irish joke. Sorry, I know I'm going on. I'm on a roll now. But it's the Irish joke when you're lost in Ireland, you're driving around, you wind down your window and you say to the Irishman on the side of the road, "Can you tell me how to get to Dublin?" And he goes, "Oh, I wouldn't start from here." Guys, you are starting from here, okay? But don't start at the hardest point in the middle of your busy day with your boys running around, fighting each other, breaking their toys. As Brett said, start with that few seconds when you have got them all in bed. Yes, I know they're going to get out again because that's what mine did too. But you got those few seconds, you sit down, you've got your glass of wine. Sorry, don't be an alcoholic, it's got juice in it. And you breathe that sigh of relief. That's it. That's your millisecond. That's your gratitude bit, okay? That kind of like, ha, made it through another day.
It So it might not be Vanessa's glass of wine. It might be a cup of coffee, a cup of tea, that cake that you bought earlier in the day that you want to eat, you know, or the biscuits you made for the kids, or cookies for those over in the US. So, it is what you make it, all right? And I think for everybody, life is what you make it. There is one thing you said, Vanessa, I'm happy in spite of, or however you change that words. I'd like to modify that statement a little bit. I am happy because.
Oh, even better. I like it.
So I am happy because of this. I am happy because, my children have the energy to run around and be happy, or, you know, whatever the case may be, however you want to look at it. But I am happy because, or I am grateful for. I think it's the same message. We're just changing the words a little bit. And I think over time, these things add up. And the more we do it, like I said, it's like building muscles. The more we get in the gym and pump those weights, the more we practice being happy, because the more we are happy and grateful, the easier it will be. And I think generally speaking, the happier we become.
Well, let's not try and achieve too much and just find one or two happy things. I love the way you changed it. I'm happy because, and then I was being silly in my head, and I was like, yeah, I'm happy when my daughter's arguing with me, and then I go, oh yes, I'm happy that she gets to be able to argue with me. Oh no, that one's not working. Let's be real. Um, so yeah, let's not aim for too much too soon, because maybe that's the issue when people have to sit down at the end of the day and write their gratitude list. Maybe it's just little injections during the day. I'll give you an example of one that I do. Because I'm talking about micro moments. Okay, just start with micro moments. And like here, when the sun comes out quite a lot, and being from the UK originally where you didn't see the sun, I'm incredibly grateful. So I literally, one of my micro moments is just feeling the sun on my skin just for a moment before I remember I haven't put sunscreen on and it's going to burn me, but it's just that micro moment of, oh, that's so nice, or just a little bit of a vision of nature or something, a bird flying around. So let's not try and do this as a big thing. I think it's like when someone suddenly says, right, I'm going to get fit and I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to get up at 5 every morning and I'm going to go every day. And then after a week or 2 weeks, it falls over. Don't set yourself up for something that's too big that you can't keep doing. So maybe just a couple of times in the day. And then in the evening, if you've got a moment with your coffee, you can think, did I have any moment of like, oh, that's nice, or any pleasure moments, micro moments?
Yep. And I think that's it. And that's what I was trying to say before. It's not about the granddaddy moments. It is about those small moments when, like I said, you can sit down and appreciate that the children were playing nicely today and they were having fun and there was lots of giggles and laughter and carry on. Or it might be the bath time. Or for veterans, I know we've talked a lot about the mums today. We haven't really talked about the veterans today. And they're equally important, no less important. But I think the messages can be applied or carried across into the veteran community. You know, the mates you've made along the way, the connections, uh, wherever life is at for you now, the family you've got around you, or you know, just the fact that you've got access to this type of information, these podcasts, at your fingertips with the modern technology that we've got these days, the mobile phones, computers, all those sorts of things. Uh, yeah, I think it's not the big things. All right. We tend to focus on the big things, and I can understand that. However, I think it's the little moments that have more impact. They are the ones that you remember more than anything else. So, I'll give you an example. Let's say we plan to uh, have a party, whatever it might be, a family celebration or whatever, and we plan to go and do it in the park, in the picnic, have picnic in the park or whatever, or a barbecue, cookout, and it starts raining. You won't remember the barbecue and the picnic. You won't remember the good things. You'll remember the rain. Now, depending on how you look at that, I like the rain. It brings so much growth. It turns the grass green and makes the plants grow and all those sorts of things. The sun is really nice, but the rain is equally important. And when we start talking about happiness and those sorts of things, it's important to have balance. We can't appreciate the good if we don't have the bad. Otherwise, it's all good and it's all just the same. So having the rain and remembering that, oh, we had to pack up really quickly is not necessarily a bad thing. It's the fact that if we take that rain and remember that incident and remember why it was a problem, the fact that we had all of our people there, the fact we're having this barbecue or picnic, whatever the case may be, the fact that we had the people around us.
I'm thinking, so how about if people are struggling to get started with this, you think back to good moments in your life, and I'm just labeling them good, but think back to the good moments and then reflect what was good about it. And was it a micro moment? Was it the running away with the picnic stuff because it started to rain? Was it the people and the connections? Because that's quite often what it's going to be. Um, I love that I said that I did not want to talk about gratitude today, and we have just talked about gratitude. I do not know what we're going to title this. We're not titling it gratitude, or we'll title it "We Will Not Talk About Gratitude."
We're going to leave the titling up to Vanessa today, folks.
But I think we should clarify some tips that we've put in here today just to help people with some key takeaways, because it's been, as usual, completely unscripted and completely just us chatting and rambling. So no structure. So maybe can we just put a bit of structure in to leave people with before we kind of summarize and end?
Okay. So I think one of the first steps is it doesn't have to be in the moment. We don't want you to put pressure on yourself, as Vanessa said. For mums, just one more thing on a, massive to-do list of things to do. It doesn't need to be like that. It can be down the track when you've got a moment, if you remember, and again, the more you practice, the easier it's going to be. If you remember to think back what was good about today, or I'm happy because this happened. I'm happy because of this. It might be, I'm happy because of this glass of wine in my hand. Maybe a bit more.
Just, oh, I'm happy just right. Oh,
I'm happy right now because I've got this coffee. I've got 30 seconds of peace. I'm happy because Vanessa brought it up before when we were, having a chat. I'm happy because I got to go to the toilet by myself for mums. Now, I know my wife can complain about it. My mother used to complain about it. So I can't really say I've been there, but I've heard all about it. For veterans, it might be, I'm happy because I've got support. I'm happy because I've got family. I'm happy because I've still got my health. I'm happy because I can do the things I want to do. And it doesn't, like I said, it doesn't have to be the big things. It's just in a moment, where you've got a micro moment to yourself. Why am I happy?
Alrighty, I'm just trying to think if there's anything that we've missed there. Um, I think that actually encapsulates it. It's not a big, list of things.
No.
It's just creating a small micro moment and noticing something. And if you're struggling with that, look back on previous events that you think, oh, that was good, and just reflect on what about that was good, you know, so that you can see what works for you. Because all of this has to work for you. We can't kind of prescribe it and say, you're going to be happy because you can go to the toilet on your own. You might not. You might just be, oh, God, finally, but it might not even be a happy moment. So reflect on what those happy micro moments are for you in the past so you can pull them out in the current and look for them. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can think back to when you were a happy thing, a happy date, a happy time with family, a happy whatever it might be, and draw on that. The reason it's going to be different for everybody, and this could be something we talk about later, is we all have different values. What's important for me is not necessarily what's important for you, and vice versa, and that's perfectly okay. And so the things that I would focus on, I'm happy because, are going to be different to your happiness moments.
Actually, I just realized I did win here because you want us to talk about gratitude, and I said, what does gratitude give you? And it gives you happiness. So actually, we have talked about micro moments of happiness to start to build up your happy muscle and start to get some happiness.
There we go. So maybe it's not gratitude, folks. Maybe it's happiness.
Well, I very much enjoyed our conversation. So thank you very much. And everybody, take away a couple of things from our conversation today.
All right. Thank you all for listening. Thank you, Vanessa, for having this chat today.
Thanks for being with us today on Chaos, Courage and Coffee. Remember, you're not alone and you don't have to figure it all out at once. What part of today's conversation stood out for you?
This podcast is about showing up in the mess, not waiting until it's all sorted out. If today helped, share it with someone else who might need it too.
And if you're navigating your own version of chaos, we'd love to hear about it. Leave a comment, message us, or join the conversation.
We'll be back soon with more honest talk, less pressure, and just enough courage to get through whatever's next.
See you next time on Chaos, Courage and Coffee.